What are you waiting for?
Come join the Geek Drums Nation. What is up, guys? Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we will be talking about Gotham Knights. Yes, this is side-by-side comparisons, episode 3. I have my brother Taz here with me.
Hello.
Please make sure if you are not subscribed to him, which I mean, he has thousands of subscribers anyway. I will link his channel down below in the description box. Please go subscribe. Turn on his alert so you never miss another one of his videos. Also, while you're at it, if you are new here, hit the subscribe button, like this video, give me in that algorithm a little more, and let's continue on this journey to 1K or until, you know, YouTube decides to turn on those new community guidelines or whatever. I don't know. But
get this man monetized.
Exactly. Where's the money, YouTube? Where's the money? All right. I've been working hard here. But guys, I am really loving this new series that I am doing. It's you know, I'm doing it kind of like every other week when I have time. I'm gonna get to doing it weekly, like I promised. Just if you have another one that you want to see, drop it down in the comment section or hit me up on, well, while Twitter is still a thing, hit me up there, or you know, better yet, hit me up on Threads. Shameless plug. But Taz, Gotham Knights, the game and the show. It's it's been a journey for both.
Yeah, they both kind of released under a lot of scrutiny. Like, the game, when it first came out, tried to make it very clear, like, hey, we're not connected to the show that's coming out. The show tried to make it very clear, hey, we're not connected to the game. But taking a closer look at both of them, they share a very similar shadowy cabal organization. There's a lot of elements that kind of, while they might be, you know, very different on the surface, taking a closer look, they are quite similar, breaking them both down.
Yeah, and I still remember, the day they announced it. It was like a couple weeks after they announced the cancellation of Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow, and when people like when people found out, they're like, so you're making a TV show tie into a video game? But every article that came out, whether it be Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, they all said it is not connected to the Gotham Knights video game, and it is not a spinoff of Batwoman. I'm like, okay, so this is stupid. You're not going to be able to really use any characters from, you know, any established Bat family lore. But then that's when we get introduced to our, you know, main protagonist, or should I say antagonist, because they were criminals. Like, I remember getting the description for the TV show, and I'm like, okay, adopted son of Bruce Wayne. Is this going to be Dick? But I'm like, no, we can't really use any of the Robins because, well, they were occupied on Titans. But I'm like, maybe they could do Duke Thomas, you know, like he's still relatively new, but they could have shocked us and done that. But then here we go. Couple more months goes by, and we find out, yeah, Carrie Kelly's going to be in it. Duella, you know, Harper and Cullen's going to be in it. Deep cuts from the comics, you know, Bat family characters that we don't normally, like the last time I saw Harper and Cullen was on Young Justice.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will not know that that was them. So I'm like, okay, yeah, these are deep cuts. Haven't seen Carrie Kelly in anything other than like the Dark Knight Rises. Wait, I'm thinking about the live action movie. Dark Knight Returns, excuse me. And, you know, some comic books here and there. But Carrie Kelly, not only Carrie Kelly, but race bent, which I did not mind in the slightest. Navia Robinson did a wonderful job with this interpretation of the character. She was one of my favorite parts of the series. So, you know, you get all of that, and then you get to the main character. Turner, who was basically Diet Bruce Wayne / Diet Damian Wayne / Diet Dick Grayson.
He was like this weird, like, amalgam of all of Bruce's sons to make this just like random kid. And he was like also almost maybe took some elements of even like Terry McGinnis in some ways as well. It was very, very interesting. Like, I know that he was kind of maybe the biggest criticism that a lot of people had of the show was the character that was supposed to be our main focal point just didn't really stand out as opposed to the rest of the cast.
Yep, and that's why I say the video game gets the leg up
Yeah.
because we get to focus on the main core Bat family that we necessarily don't get to see in video games. Yes, in the Arkham series, we got to see a really beefy the character
AKA
design,
him Drake.
the character design for Tim Drake in the Arkham series has always been hilarious to me because I'm like, dude, why are you so big and why are you bald? Like Tim Drake got a buzz cut in this universe. I would love to see somebody explore the Arkham series like to a greater length in a cartoon film or something, animated film, like they did with that Suicide Squad film. But we only
Yeah.
saw Batman. But like to just see that Tim Drake, like that Tim is so beefy. Then you see Nightwing with his emo haircut and the weird mask. Hey, there's the train. The with the weird mask that's going like up his neck and then got the domino. It was weird. But we've seen them in games, but they have never been.
Well, I mean,
It's
that's
that
perfect.
time.
There was a train in the Gotham Knights game. There's that
Yep.
train station, and I remember right when the game came out, that was kind of the place where the worst performance was. You would
Yep.
drop so many frames, so
Yep.
there it
Yep.
coincides perfectly.
Basically, yep. Basically, cannot complain with that. But we got to focus on the core Bat family. Nightwing, Tim Drake's Robin, who was dressed like Damien for some reason. Red flag right there. I remember, people hated that. Like, Tim, why are you wearing a hood? Tim, why? Like the jacket was kind of cool. Like with how it was like a jacket / cape. That was cool.
He
But
had some good suits.
He had some good suits, but and then you got Barbara, cool Batgirl. You get to see her, you get to play as her. Then you have the really weird Jason Todd design.
Yeah, he's like twice as big as everybody else.
And
definitely,
ugly. It's like when he
definitely
came
on
back.
definitely on that Lazarus
Yeah.
pit sauce.
Yeah, so it's like, why did you come back ugly? Like, did you always look like that? Like, I want to see what you look like before the Joker beat you to death. I want to see that. But you got to play as them, and like the TV show, the game, a lot of scrutiny, like you said, a lot of controversy because one, the frame rate in the game is atrocious.
Yeah, performance is not great. Like no matter
yeah.
where you're playing it on, whether it be console or PC, it's just not very stable. I know that they've done a lot of patches for it. Post launch, I haven't really hopped back in a while, like ever since I finished the game.
Haven't played it since October. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
on the shelf.
I played like 20, 30 hours until I finished it, and then just dropped it right after.
Yeah. So it's like you have to deal with all of that. The story arguably is more enjoyable than the TV show because what the game has that the TV show was basically forbidden to do because of our Lord and Savior Warner Brothers and their weird fascination with harboring Batman is they can't have Batman. At least in the game, Batman's death, his murder, he wasn't straight up killed. He went out actually fighting, actually giving a crap about his life. And that opening cinematic scene with him fighting a souped up Ra's al Ghul, which was actually cool.
That was probably
cool.
like the best cutscene of the entire game.
Yeah. How did you feel about that watching that? Because I know they released it before the game came out, but when the game came out and I was just sitting, I was like,
yeah, no, I was mesmerized. I was like, okay, if this is like the momentum that this game is going to keep up, this is going to be great. And I know that there is a lot of criticism about, it's not connected to the Arkham games. Same with the Gotham Knights show. Oh, it's not connected to the wider Arrowverse. So they kind of like met in the middle with that as well, as just like not being connected to anything, trying to establish their own world, their own universe, that type of thing. So it definitely kind of set the stage very well. It was a lived-in Gotham. It was a Batman that has been at it for a while. He's fully established this Bat family and everything. And then he has this like final face-off with Raish, and it just leads to him ending up having to sacrifice himself, which is very different from the show, where he just kind of gets blindsided and murdered by the court.
Also, where he did not notice he was being drugged,
Yes,
and
that
he was
too.
the world's greatest detective. Another knockdown for the TV show. They dragged Bruce Wayne through the mud with every reveal. Every
Yeah.
reveal, they dragged, like, we wanted to figure out, how did Bruce Wayne, how did he let this happen? We find out it's because Cressida, the proxy Alfred, which the game actually does have Alfred. So, another checkpoint for the game. Cressida, the proxy Alfred, she was slowly drugging him in his tea, and he didn't notice, and it dulled his reflexes. So when the Talon, or if it was Two-Face, whoever came to shoot him with the gun that they somehow knew he had in his office, where he only had a weird bat blade thing and his
Like half cowl.
half 3D printed cow in his office, that he obviously tried to go for, but like I said, reflexes were unfortunately dulled, and he was shot and pushed out a window in a tuxedo. As to where Bruce in the game went out like a G. He fought to the end in that game.
Yeah.
He was not flying through windows, busting through doors, and Raish is coming in like spitting out crazy green. I call it Lazarus Pit juice. I don't know what he was on.
Just Lazarus energy.
Like he was souped up. He came in like on business. Like the TV show dropped the ball in that aspect. And that's one thing I will never be able to forgive the show for. Like, no matter how hard I try, I will always say the game handled that aspect of the story better.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It definitely handled having Bruce be the kind of like focal point without him being the main playable character much better in the game, because we had that opening cutscene with him. We had different audio logs kind of like spread throughout the game, which gave you more backstory of this version of Bruce, his relationship with all of the different members of the Bat family. And there was a whole big kind of like side mission as well, with you having to, preserve his identity. Like, that was the big thing as well, making sure that Bruce Wayne does not, that name does not get associated with Batman even post-mortem. But with the show, that was something that immediately came out. Everybody knew, okay, Bruce was Batman right when he died in the show, which was another very kind of like interesting deviation there as well.
And it doesn't really make, like, you're telling me Gotham is that naive to just automatically, oh, Bruce was Batman because he got shot out a window with a Batman cowl on his face. You mean to tell me the Batcave was that easy to find? Like, the game took more care of the Batman mythos.
Mm-hmm.
It cares for it more. Like, the development of the game may be crap. It may be crap, but they care for the mythos. They care for this universe that they are, borrowing from more than the TV show did. But where the TV show, I will say the TV show did bring me in a little bit with its storytelling, how it handled the different mysteries of everything. Like when they first revealed that Cressida was working for the court. That episode, mwah. The 10, 11, 12, and 13, mwah. Blew my mind with how Duella and her mom, actually revealing that, oh, we're going to stick with comic book canon. She's Duella Dent. She's not Duella Joker. How they handle Harvey Dent Two-Face, although it's weird to have Two-Face after Batman's gone. How they handle they handled Two-Face was great. How the game handled a different version of Harley Quinn was great as well. I think that's where they, that's where they meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
How they handle some of these, some of these villains. That's where they meet in the middle. The Talons on both the game and the TV show. The Talons are a force to be reckoned with, especially in the finale of the TV show. Oh my God.
Yeah. I liked the way that they did the finale of the show way better than I liked the finale of the game. The finale of the game was just a bunch of man bats, and then like waves of talons. Oh. Yeah, waves of talons. Bruce is resurrected. It's a lot of nonsense, and they also kind of throw the court out like 2/3 the way through the game. The court isn't really the main big bad of the game. It ends up being Talia and the League of Assassins, while the show sticks true to that premise from the beginning. The Court of Owls mystery at its core is the reason for that show's existence. Like we, go through this great mystery trying to figure out, who's leading the court. We think it's Lincoln March just because of, all the comic book connections, the fact that he's Owlman in the comics, but we realize, it's actually his wife, Rebecca March, who ends up being not only the voice of the court, if we're going to be taking a term from the game, but she's also the person who discovered this magical substance known as Electrum, which is a deep cut from the comics as well. It's basically the version of, instead of using Lazarus pit water, like it was a theory that I had just because it would tie very closely in with the game. They ended up going with Electrum, which is just kind of like magical healing space rock. So,
yep.
But the court stayed that big bad all the way through, which I think gives the show a massive point, just for the way that they handled the Court of Owls all throughout.
Yep, and like it says here, like honestly, I just did more research on this because I'm like, I always was like, why didn't they just use the Lazarus Pit in the show? But I got to give it up to the writing team and the team behind the Gotham Knights show at large, as a whole. They did their research. They came from Batwoman. They know this universe. They know the Gothamverse. They know the Bat family. They know them well enough to have done their research. Like metallic alloy, when prepared in the correct way, has the ability to reanimate the dead. What did it do in the show? Brought back everybody but Bruce Wayne. But it brought them back. And the Court of Owls learned to use this metal from Dr. Leviticus, who was who?
Rebecca March.
Rebecca March. Yes,
who was suspicious from the beginning.
Yeah, from the jump, she was suspicious. She was creepy. But I thought that Rebecca was an original character. No, that's just an original alias. Because guess who else came from the comics?
Dr. Leviticus.
Which is... of course, she's a better looking Dr. Leviticus. I mean, Dr. Leviticus was a ghoulish but brilliant physician and inventor. Identity was a secret. Real name is unknown. She is female, though. But, yeah. Created by Tim Seeley and Javi Fernandez. So, yeah. This was news to me. Her powers are immortality, and she's, medical science and invention, which she does do in the show. Just nuts.
Yeah.
She's nuts. I mean, she created Two-Face. Well, honestly, she knew about Harvey's other side, and that's the side she was sleeping with. She was just fooling Harvey the entire time. So they stuck with that. They stuck it out like, whew. When I tell you guys, the show's story picked up in the end in a way that the game just did not. Honestly, the game lost me halfway through.
Yeah, the game lost momentum while the show picked up momentum as it was continuing. It's funny how the show might have started off a little bit slow, kind of difficult to find its footing, but by the end, you were really invested not only in the story, but in the characters that they had established all throughout that season. But with the game, it started off with a very strong open. It was very flashy and everything like that. Everything seemed new. You were getting to know this different version of the Bat family and everything. You were investigating the Court of Owls. There were trains going by, but it just unfortunately towards like that, like I said, like that end third of the game after we kind of had dealt with the court, we revealed that it was Jacob Kane that was the voice of the court, which was, kind of weird.
Yeah,
and then
really weird because where's Kate?
I don't know. And then they just ended up going full on League of Assassins, kind of like, just almost throwaway villain at the end with Talia that was there from the beginning of the game, that I'm sure everybody knew was like, okay, yeah, she's going to be up to some nefarious things. So I think, again, that kind of gives the show a very strong point just for the sheer fact that they ended off on a much stronger foot.
Also, what I'll say is, before we wrap it up, all I say is the one thing that they did have in common is the GCPD is full of idiots.
Yeah,
full of idiots. The amount of GCPD officers that you have to beat up in the game is hilarious. Yeah. It was fun though, but like honestly, they're idiots, and the TV show's cops are even worse. Let's not bring back up the fact that 7 severed heads with cell phones in the boxes were sitting in the GCPD.
And
nobody smelled anything. Nobody heard the phones ringing. It's always somebody at a police station. Always. Night and day. Harvey was calling that man's phone all night. You mean to tell me not one person, not the night crew, not the janitor, nobody heard it?
They needed the world's greatest detective.
He was the world's he was the world's greatest detective, all right. He couldn't figure out that I'm losing his name now because of how much it pissed me off. That Joe Chill. Joe Chill didn't kill his parents.
Oh yeah. That was a twist.
Took his kids figuring that out.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, also maybe a big criticism of both, right? That Bruce himself as Batman could not crack the case of the Court of Owls, yet his successors come in after his death and somewhat easily are able to pick up where the case left off and finish what Batman couldn't.
Yeah.
Obviously that's to prop up the new cast of characters and everything in both regards, but it just, again, almost kind of downplays Bruce's skills as Batman in both universes.
Yeah, especially because we always know Batman just has so much plot armor.
Yeah.
These two particular entries in the Batman mythos, in the Batman lore, they strip him of that. All the way. They strip him of all that plot armor. Uh-oh, my Wi-Fi is giving me the bars. Oh, whatever. If it freezes right here in the recording, I'll throw up a picture.
If it freezes, it freezes.
Exactly. Well, we're basically done anyway. But where would you say, well, at least I know for me, I'd say they kind of line up with each other when you're putting them side by side. They have the same strengths. They have the same weaknesses, some greater than others, in regards to both. But, yeah, I say kudos to the show for giving us a comic accurate Stephanie Brown, because the one that we got on Batwoman
could have just been any character.
Yeah.
could have been anybody. Yeah. Literally could have been anybody.
Redhead. But I will say they did bring her back in the comics, and she was dating Luke. So I'm okay with that. The Gotham Knights gave us a great version, a comic accurate version. I give them a point for that, but I still say they even out for me. They even out for me.
I mean, I would say, honestly, just boiling down to like sheer enjoyment, I actually had more fun with the series than with the game. I think, again, it just, you more so remember how things end than how they begin. And I think the fact that just the game fell short by the end, but the show itself picked up steam by the end, it made you really care about these characters. It got me really invested in, just the mystery with the court and everything. I think I'm going to have to give just a slight edge to the series here.
I'll give you that. Hey, I get it. Like I said, you enjoyed the show more so than I did. I had fell off in the middle for those like few dud episodes. I had fell off, but I picked it up in the end and I started watching it weekly again because like I said, 10 through 13
Yeah.
blew my mind with how good the storytelling was. And I'm like, why do we have those filler type episodes from what 4 on to 10? It was weird.
Yeah, it's like it started off like kind of interesting, then it like dipped a little bit towards that middle area, but then once it picked up, it really picked up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it started off because that first episode was rough.
Yeah.
The CGI looked like it came from the video game. But guys, let us know down below in the comment section if you have played the game, if you have seen the show, where do you rank them against each other? Like I said, for me, they kind of even out. For Taz, he's taking the TV show above it. But as a side-by-side comparison, they live up to each other.
Yeah.
You can take that in a good way, you can take that in a bad way. Either way, they add up to each other. I enjoyed both in certain aspects. I'd say I enjoyed the TV show a little bit more just because I fell off the game halfway through because, like I said, the development of that game was just trash. I have not picked it back up in months. So, I mean, I don't plan on it. I think they stopped doing stuff for it, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they released a couple of DLCs, but they were just basically like endless wave floors until you got to a big boss fight, and then they threw Starro in there randomly. Yeah, Starro was in the game.
Why?
Because reasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it didn't really tie into anything. They were just like, all right, we're going to throw Starro in here.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess more power to them then. In Starro, that's really random.
Yeah, they were trying to bring people back. And it was
Yeah,
like this like wave based like floor, like there were like 30 different floors that you had to go through, but for the most part they were just like copy and paste rooms.
I guess it didn't work either. So I mean, hey.
No.
But guys, let us know down below what you think. Let's have a conversation. Honest thoughts. This is side by side comparisons. So you're here to learn some new things. We learned some new things, and just here to have fun. Like I said, episode 3, I want to keep this series going, so show it some love. I want to thank Taz for joining me for this one. He will be back. He will be back on Monday, and depending on the next side-by-side comparison, if he wants to join me, as well as my other guys from Party Nation, they are always more than welcome here on my channel. Again, thank you, greatly appreciate it, guys. Like I said, his profile. I'm thinking about Threads. His channel. Shameless plug. His channel will be linked in the description box down below. Make sure you go subscribe. Also, like I said before, if you are new here, hit the subscribe button for your boy. All right, I will check everybody later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And there's the train.